Good evening and welcome to the March 28th, 2013 Radnor Environmental Advisory Council meeting. I'm going to start right off here with a review and approval of last month's, the February meeting's minutes that were kindly taken and distributed by Ann. Appreciate that again, Ann. Anybody have any comments or changes to the minutes? There, motion to approve.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we have some announcements. I have 4 announcements. And Sally, I know you have a few announcements, so I will try to keep them short and sweet. The first I got right off the Radnor Township website, and there is a bulletin that the Radnor Township, in partnership with the Community Garden Club at Wayne, is sponsoring their annual Township Managers Beautification Award program. This year's program begins April 1st, 2013, and the nominations are accepted through September. And this program is intended to recognize residents and businesses who have taken exceptional care of their homes and businesses and whose extra effort into the exterior beautification of their property is well evidenced. So all township residents and businesses are eligible, and nominations can be called in or emailed in to the office of the township manager. Apparently this is not the first year. I saw on there that they had been given awards out last year. I didn't take a look at that, but it's right on the website, radnor.com. Secondly, I'd like to tell you about the fact that Philadelphia is kicking off the nation's first official Walk to Work Day, which is scheduled to be Friday, April 12th, 2013. And on, I'm not sure if I wrote down the website here that I found this on, but I can tell you how to search for it. You should use Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, and you can search for Philadelphia Walk to Work Day, and it should pop up. But they're asking you to pledge to walk at least 15 minutes during your commute on Friday, April 12th. And everybody who pledges to walk those 15 minutes is eligible for special discounts and giveaways, and also a 25% discount off your registration to the 5K Run for Clean Air. And again, I'm not sure if there is a specific organization that is doing this or whether it's a combination of organizations, but I would encourage you to to Google it.
Did you say Philadelphia?
Philadelphia Walk to Work Day. But I also saw that on the same website that actually maybe it was on Google. I was searching for Walk to Work Day. It's like all across the country. So I think maybe this might be the first time that Philadelphia has a kind of a contingent. So certainly we can make it a greater Delaware Valley Walk to Work Day. I would encourage everybody to try it. Thirdly, I have a announcement from the Delaware Valley Green Building Council. They have their 2013 Green Building Celebration. And this is, if you recall last year, Brenda brought this to our attention. They had it at the Barnes Foundation in September. And this year, I believe it's going to be in the fall again, but I just wanted to let everybody know that discounted tickets are available now before April 8th on the dvgbc.org website.
I think it's in May. I think it's coming up really soon at World Cafe Live.
Oh, that's right. Okay, sorry. Yes, it is earlier. Okay, so last year was in September. This year it's in May. World Cafe Live, which is a really awesome place to go if you haven't been there already. So that's why the tickets are on sale already. April 8th, if you get them before April 8th, you can get a discount on their website. And of course, it's networking with the green building community. They're going to have food, drink, music, and some homegrown entertainment. The last thing I was going to tell you about is kind of part of something Dan Meyer here on our committee has been working on, and that is the planting of the rain garden at the Cowan Park in North Wayne. And we have scheduled a planting event. So this rain garden, I believe it's about 10 by 20. And the guys here at the Public Works Department have kindly offered their equipment to dig the sort of foundation for this garden. It's ready to be planted. So there's going to be a planting event on Saturday, April 21st. Okay, the details aren't exactly put together yet on at what time or what needs to be done, but that the date has been set, and we will be posting details on the Township website. There's also a group called the Friends of Cowan Park. I'm assuming this is a group of concerned neighbors around Cowan Park, and they have a email address, friendsofcowanpark@gmail.com. So you can email that address and get some more information on this. But mark your calendar. That's all I have. Sally, you want to add some announcements?
Yeah, a couple things I first heard about in connection with going to the Pennsylvania, New Jersey Sustainability Symposium a couple weeks ago. Just generally, not really related to that, through Energy Works, which is a program of the Energy Coordinating Agency, people are able to get discounted home energy audits, and that's been in existence for a while. But my understanding, and I confirmed this today, is that the money for the program as it exists is in place through May. There's a possibility that it will get extended through October, but that hasn't been confirmed yet. So people might really want to look into getting a home energy audit, get it in the works now. In particular because not only is it discounted from an average cost of about $400 to $150, also if you request it when you're signing up for the home energy audit, you can get something called a home energy score, and this is the thing that I first heard of at the Sustainability Symposium. It's a ranking of your house on a scale of 1 to 10. It's sort of like a grade that tells you how you compare to other homes that are similar to yours. So some of the auditors are trained to do home energy scores as well. So if you request one, you will get that free as part of your audit. Also, part of the whole program as it exists right now is there's a network of contractors that you will be referred to carry out any recommended repairs to your home as a result of the audit, and Energy Works kind of holds your hand as you deal with those contractors. Also, currently they have very low interest financing for repairs, 0.99%. And so and one more thing that's currently part of the program is free test outs, which basically means they come back after you've gone through the audit and had some repairs done. So some of these extra benefits are in place now through the end of May, might get extended, but it's not sure. The other thing, and for information, go to energyworksnow.com, and the phone number for the Energy Coordinating Agency, which is behind all this, is 215-609-1043.
Sally, can I ask you, what was the metric that they used to rate the house called?
Home Energy Score.
Is that a Energy Star product, or is
I don't believe so. I think it's a standalone program. It's through the U.S. Department of Energy, and yeah, so it's
okay.
Standalone.
Because I just pulled up Radnor's website here, and on the green Radnor page, we put on a Energy Star home energy yardstick tool, and that is a 1 to 10 rating of your home as well. And I've done it a couple times using this link by Energy Star. It might be a different metric than that.
I don't know.
Just curious. And I just also wanted to point out that I did the audit through that program, and it worked out awesome.
Yeah.
It worked out so great. It was great to have somebody come back to your house and audit it after the work was finished. Mm-hmm. And I took advantage of the 0.99 low interest loan, and it was great. Mm-hmm. Can't recommend it enough.
Okay. And Another program that's sort of timely is there is through, let's see, through Community Energy, which is nearby here, they have, through a grant from the DEP for solar energy, they have a program with a company called Solar City for people to have solar leases on their homes. So what this means is people will get zero down solar energy installations on their homes. So it's a solar lease. Solar City owns the panels. The homeowner and Solar City buys back the energy on a monthly basis. The rate is set for 20 years, so it sounds like it could be very cost effective. And from what I understand, they're expecting the money for this program to only last for about another 6 weeks. So anybody interested in that might want to check www.communityenergyinc.com, or the direct phone number of the guy who is dealing with this is 484-654, I think that's a 4 and not a 9, 2487. Drew Crowder is his name.
So that's for installation of solar panels on your house to power your home, obviously.
Right.
But then also to generate excess to be sucked back into the grid.
You know, I didn't talk with him about if the goal is to create extra and feed it back into the grid. I don't know. It's at least to power your own home.
Okay.
One other thing I'd just like to toss out, which I heard about at this sustainability symposium, which is I just thought really interesting. There's a program in New Jersey called Sustainable Jersey, which is it's like a ranking. I forget how they describe it exactly. It's a ranking program for municipalities, and the whole idea is that there are certain standards that are set by a third party, and it's a public-private academic triumvirate that is behind this program, Sustainable Jersey. But they work with municipalities to achieve a certain level of certification, comparable to LEED or something like that, only for municipalities, and you earn points in different ways. And I asked if there was anything like that afoot in this part of Pennsylvania. I couldn't find anything. I didn't hear of anything. Well, I know of something in the south, in the west, in western Pennsylvania, but I'd be interested to hear about anything in our area.
Didn't we have something before us about how you could qualify, or your community could qualify for like the 10 best green communities in Pennsylvania? We had someone present to us, I think. Doesn't that sound familiar? And Swarthmore was doing really well, as I recall.
Of course they were, yeah, Swarthmore, yeah.
I don't know if it was Pennsylvania. I think that was a national or federal thing. I don't think that was a Pennsylvania-specific program, as I
Recall the West Coast ones coming in pretty high, too.
Yes, right,
The
exactly.
Portland and the Seattle, yeah.
Yep.
It does exist.
Okay, and there's something called the Sustainable Communities Working Group, which is it's creating the standards for this Sustainable Jersey program. So, I would think that Radnor would have a lot going for it, too. One of the things they could ask for is green teams, So it sounded like an interesting, if such a thing comes to be in this area, it sounded like something to really look into. That's it.
And one comment to your announcements. The Planning Commission reviewed a sustainable or alternative or solar, wind, et cetera, energy series of ordinances that, as far as I know, are still kind of sitting out there in limbo. But that has been reviewed and discussed, and that I know you have a 6-week window for funding here, so I guess theoretically it's not regulated. But after this finally gets addressed, there may be some changes in the way we would approach this. I'm sorry I can't give you more information than that, but just so you know, it's out there.
Any other announcements? Okay, moving into our work group reports. First off is the Radnor Green Team report, and I had the opportunity to discuss progress on the Green Team with Melissa yesterday, and she just yesterday was able to disseminate the. If you recall, we all on our group here sort of volunteered to sort of one-on-one tackle some green challenges with a particular person on the green team, and she was just able to disseminate that those pairings with the green team. I believe it was yesterday. Already, Robin is on this, and she's on the green power purchasing for the township. Robin is doing great. She's already disseminated a lot of information to her cohort, or whatever you want to call it, the person that she's teamed up with on the green team. So I encourage everybody who volunteered to make contact with your partner on the green team early. So we sort of follow this up with some momentum, and the idea here is that a lot of progress, a lot of research and discussion gets done in between the green team meetings, and then the green team meetings are used to sort of thump your chest and tell everybody how well you're doing and how much progress you're made, and to ask for assistance if necessary. But the idea here is that we make a lot of progress in between those meetings.
So for those of us who have a contact at the township, is the expectation then we'll go to the green team meetings as well?
Well, not necessarily. No. I mean, if you have something to talk about at the green team meeting, or you're looking for some assistance, of course, yeah. Now, what we've come to an understanding with the green team and with Melissa that we're welcome to go to these meetings as a group, singularly, whatever. But eventually down the road, the idea here is that we send maybe one or two representatives to the meetings to help us report back on their progress or what was discussed. But yeah, in the beginning here, if we have things to talk about, we should feel welcome to go to those meetings. Yeah. Okay, second is the sustainability work group, and Sloan's not here to report on his monthly water sense tip of the month. But I'd like to just make a quick report about my wonderful new toilets in my house. I'm a sucker for data, and I've been charting my water use, and my gallons per day in my house has dropped. I have about half a year data points now. Has dropped from 135 gallons down to 100 gallons a day, which is about a 25% reduction just from replacing my toilets. So WaterSense, big fan, and mine are WaterSense toilets. Okay, on to some cleaner topics. Liaison reports. We only have one liaison today, and that's you, Skip. Tell us about planning.
Planning has been seemingly entirely focused on the colleges. We are going to have a suspension for 1 month of our PI new ordinance review, partially because Kevin Kachansky is not, he's on active duty, actually in the military, in the National Guard, so he's out of the area until May at least. Our only topic on Monday's meeting will be the Villanova mega plan again. And they have made some changes. I don't want to speak out of turn. I want to let it be presented at the meeting. But I think we're making progress. But it is a major multi-million, almost $200 million total development by the time it all is said and done. And I'll just reserve comment, I think, at this point until after that meeting.
Is there anything that the EAC should be thinking about right now, or should we wait till your next report after their new presentation?
Well, in one sense, the development of Villanova is, no matter what happens, if a development goes forward there, you're going to be reducing a giant heat island because 85 or 90% of the site is paved. And at least 20 to 30% of it would not be paved after this is done, if it goes forward the way it is. So that's a good thing. Also, from a environmental aspect, there's no water retention on those lots right now. After the development, there will be water retention. traffic will be changed, but we just got the studies 2 days ago, and that's going to be discussed at some length. So I don't want to speak out of turn. It's better to do it in a public meeting. But those are some of the things that are consequences of the development that are positive from an environmental aspect.
Okay, thanks.
The one last thing that will actually be good, even from a carbon standpoint, increasingly it's extremely likely that there'll be a pedestrian bridge at Church Walk or Church Lane from that parking lot and or whatever is constructed there onto the main campus. And that will change the lights on Lancaster right there. They will potentially eliminate pedestrian crossings there and require you to use the bridge instead of trying to cross. That will keep cars from idling and backing up at that intersection.
That doesn't change the Ithan crossing, right?
No, it does
Okay.
not.
Okay,
No.
so it would still be,
But 1 out of 2.
that ain't bad.
Yeah. It's unfortunate that the grade levels are part of the driving criteria for the fact that there's only 1 pedestrian bridge instead of 2. They've done studies in nearby colleges. If you have to climb 1 or 2 stories of steps, you're not going to use the bridge if you have a way to just cross at grade level. But conveniently, at Church Crossing, that upper level is at grade level because the ground rises quite a bit right there.
I see. Well, Luke Clark, who's our new Parks and Recreation liaison, wasn't able to make it, and Kelly Doyle is our Board of Health liaison. She wasn't able to make it either. Next order of business is old business, and I wanted to mention something that Sloan has been working very hard on, and you guys got to talk about this at last month's meeting, and that was the tax holiday for WaterSense and now to include Energy Star products. Sloan just wanted me to let you know that the next step is for the Board of Commissioners to, I guess, offer their support. So I'm not sure if they're going to be having a resolution or anything like that, but the upcoming meeting is April 8th, and this is scheduled to come in front of them at that time. So we'll report on it next month to see how that worked out. Any other old business?
I had a quick question, but no comment. I don't know if you wanted to go, Ms. Pullen.
I just want to give you a quick update on the open space process. The scope of work has been sent to DCNR for review, so we actually have taken a step forward.
Just to comment on Radnor becoming a bird town, I think that's great. I'm going to be registering my house for that. We have a pretty good amount of birds in the area, so I think we're already bird friendly. So I think that's really cool. But I did want to ask a question. I don't know if anyone knows an update on it with the township, if any progress or movement on the recommendation made on funding the wastewater system with the impervious surface billing cycle. I forget the exact name.
Oh, you're talking about the stormwater utility?
Yeah, stormwater, yeah.
Stormwater utility.
Do we know if has that been on the commissioner's plates at all?
Yeah, I forgot. I actually don't remember where that has stopped.
Yeah, the last thing I remember was the consultants making a couple recommendations. One was like a retention basin up on, I think it was South Devon Park or something like that.
Who was tracking that for us? Was that Sloan?
I don't know. I'm really interested in that stuff. I could kind of pick that up if it's hanging out there.
Okay. Why don't we ask? We'll ask Sloan. I know he's on vacation this week, and then we'll find out. I think he was the one tracking the progress of that those discussions. And the last I remember Sloan talking to me about it, I think privately, was that it was looking fairly positive that the stormwater utility was gaining some traction.
That's great.
But I don't believe it's been voted on or anything like that.
Yeah, I think it's an effort we should really be behind. I think it's terrific.
And other old business? New business?
I just had a thought that I didn't know where it was appropriate to bring it up, but I guess now is as good as any. For the green team, I've been reading lately that there's a lot of drive to put natural gas in vehicles. And I know we looked at, and in fact, the township is participating with a grant to use, biodiesel in some of the buses. And we've certainly looked at hybrid buses, but I don't think we ever really talked about natural gas vehicles for the township. And I don't know who's talking to who on the capital side of acquisitions, but if it's making the press, there's a tremendous acceleration in interest in using natural gas as a fuel for larger vehicles. And the carbon footprint is a lot smaller than diesel. So I'm passing that along as, who would that be, do you think?
Well, I meant to bring that breakout of who's helping out with vehicles in the green team. I can't remember who's on the vehicle thing. I bet you it's Sloan, because he's got the electric car. He's got an old passion for that.
I bet you're right.
He also did a lot of research at one point on school buses, so I think it's his.
So we'll put that to Sloan. I just read something today about I think it was a dairy farm who was actually creating, obviously, their own natural gas. And they had replaced their entire fleet. They it was something like 5 million pounds of manure a day. Some ridiculous amount of, you couldn't believe the numbers. But anyway, they're powering their entire vehicle fleet, their entire buildings with their natural gas, and then they're burning off the other 75% that they can't use.
The first taxi cab I got in Seattle was powered by natural gas. I was just like, why isn't this anywhere else?
And we have the obviously.
I can't even pay with a credit card in Philly.
The Marcellus Shale fracking going on here in Pennsylvania, so it's definitely making the news. You're right about that. At this time, I want to introduce somebody I just met, Chan Tanawala. We're in the public comment section here. Chan Tanawala is the vice chair of Valley Township's Environmental Advisory Council, who just recently formed, and I wanted to give you a chance, Chan, to introduce yourself and tell us maybe a little bit about your EAC and why you came today. And I encourage you to use that microphone there. I think if the red light's not on, you can just click on a button there. It should turn it right on.
No red light on here.
Oh.
No. I don't see anyone.
Oh, you're on. I can hear you now. Yeah, that's
Okay.
good.
Like I said to Josh, that I'm Chan Tanawala. I'm from Valley Township. We lived there in 55 plus community. I thought of doing something for the community, and so I joined the EAC committee that was formed by the Valley Township just last year. I'm one of the 5 members, well, actually 4 now, but one of the 5 members. I am a chemist, retired chemist, and vice chair. Chair is Dave Porter, who is an engineering training, he says himself. I think he's working toward his PE. Then we have Charles Bruce, who is a realtor, who has been working in the township for some time. And another person is Miss Betty Phillips. She's secretary. She has been in school for a number of years. So those are the 4 members as of now. We had one additional member, but his term expired. I don't know how that can happen. He was appointed just last year, and now he's very short term. So his term is expired, and I don't know what
He was impeached.
Board of Supervisors are going to do, whether to, again, reinstate it or whether he's going to get another member. I would like to see a member, a new member, or maybe perhaps himself, I don't know his background, but somebody who has got some community project experience, I mean, doing some kind of community work. I'm absolutely, I have never done any of these things. I work in a corporate environment for all these years. So I'm kind of nervous about doing anything of that sort. But anyway, those are the 5 members of our committee. We meet every 3rd Thursday of the month. We have been meeting since last August. and just basically learning how to do the job that we are charged to do as a EAC member. Our community, our Valley Township, is a very small community, 6,500 residents. I think it's somewhat of a rural area, but also there's a lot of urban development taking place right now. Our major issues today are basically stormwater pollution. We are part of the MS4 townships that the state has designated. And the other issue is that we got some open space program. We don't have anything done in that area. We are currently working on, or at least the Board of Supervisors are going to work on determining the official map. And without official map, you can't do anything about open space. So that's what they're going to be working on. Other than that, let's see, what else can I tell you? We're just trying to learn something about these various projects that need to be done. The reason for my coming here today is that I called Melissa last month. In fact, I called her. I talked with her and I said, hey, look, I know that Radnor Township has been quite in the forefront of EAC type activities. You've been, I guess, since 1998 or something like that. And you are standalone by yourself. I mean, this is a bit different from a lot of other communities. You have also the video going on for every meeting, quite advanced. Well, we thought we learned something from you. And so my purpose in coming here was to find out if any one of you would be kind enough to come to our meeting and give us a talk about your experiences, do's and don'ts, whatever you want to tell us about your EAC work that you've been doing here. And that's the purpose of my visit. I know my chair was supposed to be here, but apparently he didn't make it. But anyway, if you have any questions, I can ask me. I mean,
Well, you mentioned a few things that you were tackling. One was stormwater is a big issue, like as it is in our township as well.
I see.
And your open space is another thing that's important to us here too. And I think on both those issues, we this year and the years past, we've dabbled in for sure. Yeah. Is there anything else besides those two that the EAC has been maybe talking about? Or?
Like I mentioned to you, there is within our jurisdiction there is Chester County Airport, and I don't know much about what developments are going to take place there, but one could expect that it will be growing, and as it grows, obviously there will be significant amount of commercial activity, urban development. So it may not take place now. It may take another 5 years or more. I don't know. But what we thought we would do is to get ready or get at least some ideas to how to attack the problems that might emerge as the development proceeds in an urban development type of situation or even the Chester County airport development, whichever way it goes. And that's why we thought maybe we can learn something from experienced persons such as yourself.
I think it's a really neat opportunity to do that. I think it's a really neat opportunity. One, I think if we can help out another township, that's great, but I think it's also probably a healthy exercise for us to actually maybe take a step back and look at, how are we constructed? What do we really focus on? What are we good at? Maybe what aren't we good at?
Yeah. There's significant difference between our township and your township, in terms of the demographic situation. So I'm sure there's significant difference, but still we can learn from each other.
Yeah, well, I think it's if I hear two things. There's an ask to more of a logical level of kind of how we're set up. What do we focus on? What do we kind of go towards?
Sure.
I think that's the easy stuff to address in terms of talking about how we're set up. And then there's the specific issues, which, we have, various people. But I think it's a great idea. I'd volunteer to come talk just because I love speaking, but I'm probably not the best, I don't think. But if we wanted to put something together, I would make you're near Coatesville?
We are in Coatesville.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know if you know about the Route 82, Route 30 bypass.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
We have southwest area from the intersection. So that's where we are.
I think
considerable smaller place than you have here, obviously.
I mean, I'll speak for myself, but I mean, I certainly think we would be delighted to come down and talk
All
to
right,
you guys. I think that's
I
great.
certainly-
And I'll get your phone number or your email address, and we can coordinate for sure. I
Sure,
think.
yeah, that would be great help.
Yeah, I think it'd be great.
We appreciate it.
Well, great.
You've been in touch with Pennsylvania Environmental Council, because they're the ones that have the listserv for EACs, right?
Yeah.
I believe, so they might have other general sources of information, not township specific.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. PEC, the Pennsylvania Environmental Council. We are members of that. Each one of us EAC members are going to be put on the listserv, which it hasn't happened yet. But we have, I mean, our board of directors have okayed becoming a member of the PEC, and now we're going to get information through the listserv, which unfortunately is taking its own time, but it has not happened yet. But we are working on it.
There's there used to be an annual EAC conference.
Yeah, we had it at Villanova, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I went to that. I
And
see.
that, I believe, was canceled this year, I think. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah,
But hopefully in years coming, it'll be.
Yeah,
it'll
I
be
have
more.
looked at the PEC's brochure. There's a little thick book, and I've gone through that. There are interesting projects that are there. I mean, I wish we had more resources and personnel to undertake some of these projects, but we are still, a very infant stage to say the least. So we are working on it. But yeah, it will be very interesting to go through some of them. Any other
Excellent.
questions, Ahmed?
No, I don't have any other questions. I would encourage. I mean, we're flattered that you think that our EAC is so wonderful in advance. But I can tell you that there are a few others that you might want to take a look at, and that would be Haverford Township.
Okay.
Haverford Township has a very active and very impressive group there, and of course Swarthmore, which I think Swarthmore has it might be teamed up with a couple other boroughs nearby. Is that Rose Valley, or I forget who they're teamed up with, but yeah, there's some really very active
Is that
EACs
right?
down there.
Okay,
Yeah.
Haverford Township.
Haverford is a good one. Yep.
I'll look into it.
But
All right.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Nice meeting you.
We'll wait here.
Yeah, we're almost done here. Yep.
Thank you.
So I sort of skipped through the end of new business. Is there any other new business besides what we discussed?
A question, this might be the time. Would it make sense, is it possible to have links on the green page of the Radnor Township website to all the stuff that we're, announcing every month? Because I'm just wondering if anybody's watching and they're trying to write down what we're saying. I know occasionally we show a page, but is that something that we can do?
I think so. I know in our minutes, especially in our announcements, if we mention a website or a link or whatever, that gets published right into those minutes. And I think probably there are even active links where you could just launch right off of it. If we want to specifically have a bulletin on the Radnor Green page about something in particular, I'm sure Melissa would be very happy to do that for us. But we would probably need to, as it's set up right now, we would need to go to her and ask about that. So maybe we can talk about putting a group of links together after each meeting, that was discussed, or we can, let people just use the minutes. I'm not sure.
It crossed my mind as a facetious comment at first, but I think actually it might be worth mentioning in a serious manner. Is like, what if we set up a Twitter account where you could put our Twitter handle on the website, and then we could, if we have links afterwards or whatever, we can tweet them out, and people who want to follow it can get the up-to-date information.
I wouldn't know a tweet if I sat on one.
I could be our official social media, whatever title, officer.
Oh, right.
But,
Well,
I originally was thinking that as like a comment. It's like, oh, we need our own Twitter page or something like that. But it's actually not a bad idea. And that's how, being able to push out alerts to people who are interested, they can just follow us on Twitter.
I think it's a great idea. I mean, I think that anything that we can
Low
use-
expectations, like 3, 4, 5 followers, I think it's a success, but
We got 4 right here. So I think anything that is we can use to,
right.
to further education on this kind of stuff is great. And I think the way it works, that people only sign up if they're interested, right?
correct.
So
We're not going to
it's like
spam
we're
anybody.
We're not blasting people who don't want this kind of stuff. So-
Correct.
Do we have to make
Love it.
sure we're allowed to do that before we do it?
That was going to be, I think, the first step is we would probably want to get
Get
a
approval.
sign off from Melissa or someone
Yeah.
that we're able to tweet links.
And even for those of us, I mean, I'm not on Twitter, I don't plan to get on it, but I would think there are some people that might want to find links on a website and without having to join Twitter. So, but even for something like putting links on a website, of course, we need to have, disclaimer language, we're not endorsing blah, blah, blah.
I think in terms of putting things on the website, too, I think we need to be sensitive to the staffing issues of the township. Melissa's very good about posting things, but if we start putting up a lot of current events that are not township events, then she has to put them up and then she has to take them down. If they're there in the minutes, then people can access them and they kind of time out. But
That may be plenty. If somebody, can somebody search, I don't know how good the searching is on the Radnor Township website. Can somebody search a phrase that we've mentioned in a meeting and then come to the
when I
minutes?
try searching the township website, I come up with all kinds of strange minutes and things. So I think you can, but I'm not 100% certain.
To give you a perspective on something like this, we had to make a special request to have the Villanova project put on the website. In other words, it wasn't already on. And it was considered to be out of the norm. So that this might be comparatively hard to do, what you're suggesting.
Well, then maybe just having, information in the minutes is enough. I just was wondering.
Well, this had come up before too when the request came around adjusting our meeting schedule and the possible stress that was putting on township staff hours, and I brought up the idea of our own YouTube channel. I mean, I think there's a very good argument to be made that the township EAC could have a Twitter, Facebook, and a YouTube channel, and it's a really good way to get information out to those who are interested. It's just a whole matter of governance of whether the township would allow us to operate under a Radnor, name. So I don't know.
There's one other option on our channel 10. When they're not showing a meeting or a copy of a meeting or whatever, there's all those little, I don't know how they're prepared, but they're basically 8.5 by 11 pages, and they scroll through them, and, maybe the announcements could be on one of those pages, or we could get in that loop
Yes,
with the announcements.
I think that'd be great.
If I recall those like almost like a slideshow, and we would need to create that slide ourselves. FYI, as Ann mentioned, I don't think we're in the position to request that kind of a service from the township. So it's a good idea, especially something that we feel is really important, and we want to get out there as hard as we can, and that's another good idea to use. But if we want to we had 7 announcements today, so.
I mean, one thing that we could do, because sometimes I don't think Melissa posts the minutes as soon as I give them to her. I think she waits until they're approved so it's after the next meeting. And by that time, some of the events that we announce will already have passed. But it probably would not be that difficult. I don't know how the Channel 10 mechanism works, but once the chair reviews the minutes, make sure the announcements look appropriate, then I could just throw each one of them on a separate slide and send them over. It would not be that hard for me to do, if that seems as if it's a good way to get information out. I'm not a Channel 10 watcher myself.
Well, there's a huge demographic that sits there and watches those slides go by, I'm sure. And I'm sure, Steve's over here rolling his eyes saying that's probably
Actually,
not the way we
I
want
probably
to
watched
get.
more Channel 10 and 16 than anyone in the room.
I think,
I have one more thought on that.
go ahead.
You have notes for these announcements, and you have the additional detail, but could you, even if they're handwritten, bring them in? When we do planning, we put stuff on that table, and, they can broadcast that for 2 or 3 minutes while we're speaking. I mean, it doesn't always have to be on us. While we're doing the announcements, maybe just have the announcements there, and then people can literally see it and write it down.
I don't know how they did it, but at the last meeting, where Josh wasn't here and Sloan chaired, Sloan's announcements were on the screen, so I assumed that they were not only on our screen, but they were also on the home screens. Which would be another way of getting the information out right away.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say, they can.
Oz stepped out.
Yeah, the great and powerful Oz has spoken. But yeah, aside from just having this camera shoot, we can always ask these guys to put this stuff up on the computer. But I think the Twitter thing is something we should think about. We talk about again.
Like us on Facebook.
I think it's an interesting idea. I think it's worth looking into it a little bit more, especially because it focuses exactly on the people that we want to talk to, and that's people who are interested in this kind of stuff, right? Well, if there's no other
All
business,
30,000 residents signed up.
I am going to call an end to the meeting. Thank you.